Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Design with the Bard. I'm your host, Creepy Bard, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a brief analysis of the first, 30 minutes or so of Final Fantasy VI. The reason we're taking such a large departure from our usual fare is actually due to a couple of things. See, recently I've begun working with a few friends, working on a JRPG of our own, and as preparation for this, I played Final Fantasy VI for the first time and was really impressed by the intro. I also just think this would be a really interesting bit to do on occasion, and it's my show, so fuck you, let's do this. So I say I was impressed, but that doesn't mean I thought it was perfect. This game definitely has its fair share of issues, but there's one moment that comes up at around 30 minutes in that is so inspired that we have to talk about the entire 30 minutes, because each scene contributes to that moment paying off, except for the first few minutes. This is just the credits, and Jesus Christ, fuck these credits. These credits alone are what kept me from playing this game for the longest time. It's slow, there's no skipping it takes forever. This is exactly how not to display your credits. Yes, it's important that people know who worked on your game, but holding them at gunpoint is not going to make anybody learn these names. It screws up replay value, it turns off people who didn't pay $60 to play the game, it's criminally boring. Just don't fucking do it. It even contaminates this bit of dialogue, because impatient players are just going to completely miss it because of these terminally slow credits. Quick note though, I am a little disappointed that they mentioned the slave crown here. If that information had been withheld, it would have made for an interesting reveal later on while still allowing the main character to be absolved of fault, but because they reveal it here, they miss that opportunity. After this quick bit of world building and these slow as fuck credits, we get into the game proper. Kind of. You take control of our mystery gal, Vix, and Wedge as they go into town to get the Esper. What's an Esper? I don't fucking know. I didn't read the scroll. I made a sandwich. Anyway, they throw these weak-ass guards at you, and this is where the tutorial starts. You're given a bunch of abilities from these mechs, I guess, is what we're in? Maybe? I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. And you can't possibly know what they do without some experimentation. Which is fine in this scenario, because you have plenty of weak guards to beat the shit out of to figure it out. They don't do a ton of damage, and you can pretty quickly find the ability to heal yourself without too much effort, so you're not in any real danger. So you get to go nuts and figure out what everything does, assuming you're the Inquisitive type. For the purposes of this video, you're the Inquisitive type. Unless we're making a shitty joke for this terrible video, then it's okay. Anyway, these abilities are all named in ways that people who play a lot of JRPGs will recognize what they do without having to do too much exploring. Even if you aren't a person who regularly plays JRPGs, most of them are named pretty obviously, except for Xfer. I have no idea what this ability does, it just kind of erases whatever it's targeting at the time. Now I'm not going to play terribly far into the game, but based on the fact that it's made pretty clear we're the bad guys at the moment, and it doesn't really seem like the good guys have these mech things, I'm going to assume these are all abilities that enemies are going to have in the future, but not you. I'd honestly be surprised if this weren't the case, but I won't really know by the time this video is done. If it is the case, this entire tutorial section becomes much more interesting, because the designers of the game are letting you know all of the abilities that these mechs have. This actually does a lot of work, because it lets the player be incredibly powerful from the start without having to rely on in medias res. That's not to say that in medias res is a bad thing, but it is a bit overplayed in this day and age, so it's nice to see a time where they were actively avoiding it. It also lets the player understand what these abilities do without having to be shot in the goddamn face, which is always helpful. And now we're brought to the first part of the game that doesn't have scripted combat. It just has the random encounters that you'll usually run into throughout the game, and one save point. This is where they ease you into normal gameplay while still heavily controlling your forward motion. There's no real exploration here, but it does have one of the laziest tutorial moments in gaming, outside of just putting the controller on screen with all of the inputs. They ask you if you want to know about save points when you activate it. If you say yes, there's a text wall about how save points work, a quick, vague mention of tents and sleeping bags, and it tells you the unintuitive rule that you lose money and items when you die, but not experience. All of the above could have been inferred through the course of play, except for the sleeping bag and tent, which the screen doesn't explain anyway. While I understand wanting to limit the places the players can use the tent and sleeping bag, it's still pretty inelegant design. Not awful, just inelegant. This hallway is also home to one of the best tutorial moments in the game. If you've messed with the abilities, you'll see that the Bioblast ability is an area of effect. Because of that, you probably started using against all the enemies, because it speeds up combat quite a bit. Well, if you use that ability against the rats in this area, it actually heals them. This lets you know, without beating you over the head with the information, that some enemies are affected differently by different kinds of attacks. Sure, these guys were healed, but maybe somebody else is immune. Maybe somebody else takes less damage. Oh, or maybe somebody else could take more. It's a really excellent way to teach the player about damage types without just slapping a text wall on the screen, which makes it even more perplexing that they decided to text wall the save information. At the end of this hallway, you trigger a small scene in which Vix will tear apart some bars. As a player, this is bullshit. Why the fuck would you even put the bars there if they aren't going to stop me? But this actually tells you that coming into contact with weird things will occasionally trigger a cutscene, which is actually a pretty good thing to know. Again, this isn't a terribly elegant way to teach that, but I can think of worse ways. And then we come to what can charitably be called the first boss fight. They beat you over the head with the information that it will occasionally fire lightning at you if you punch its shell, somehow, and teaches you that there are going to be certain enemies that you'll have to be patient with when you fight them. Quick note, fuck literally everyone who arbitrarily extends their combat sequences with this bullshit. If it's done occasionally, then they are trying to make combat more interesting by having the enemy dictate the pace of combat, which can be an interesting way to do things. In real-time combat. In a turn-based game, it's a boring waste of fucking time. Yes, they're trying to simulate that sort of combat, but we are literally taking turns, and I couldn't change the pace of combat if I fucking wanted to. JRPGs will also try to do this thing occasionally by giving enemies arbitrarily large life totals. Long fights feel like an ordeal, even if they don't take any real strategy. Well, at the very least, now you know what a boss fight looks like, with the music and the arduousness and the taking all goddamn day about it. Alright, moving on! Another little teaching moment with this bit of cave, showing that sometimes the background is on a layer above your character, which shouldn't be in the goddamn game. Sure, it makes the cave feel cavernous and more like an actual structure, but no, seriously, fuck that shit. There's fucking nothing that tells you that this bit of cave is not a wall, and it is fucking awful, which is probably why they decided they needed to make it part of the tutorial. And finally, we get to my favorite bit, and the last one we're going to talk about on this show. You walk up and are shown your first frozen Esper, which still doesn't tell you what the fucking Esper is. Is it specifically a weird chicken thing? I don't fucking know, whatever. What the? Holy shit, we're gonna fight! Oh damn, the music makes it seem like it's a boss fight, and we're having a conversation beforehand like we did with the last one. Oh man, this has to be a boss fight. Oh shit, it moved! Okay, it must be doing a thing, whatever. I'm in these fucking mechs, I can probably take it. Wait, what? Fuck the lights, man, let me fight the damn thing. Oh shit, I needed that guy. Well, I can take it with two. Oh fuck, that guy too? Alright, so we're doing a solo thing? I'm gonna have to solo fight this thing? Moving into play. Whoa, light show! That fucking thing just murdered me? Oh, no, I'm good. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how you convey fucking emotion. Other mediums can tell you how a character feels or show it to you, but gaming can make you feel that fucking shit. Because this cutscene was done on a battle screen, with new music going on, happening in the same way as the Welk fight, with an enemy that looks weird by comparison to everything you fought, you are certain you're gonna have to fight this thing. So when they just erase both of the guys that have been damn near invincible this entire time, you know that this thing is gonna be incredibly strong, and you aren't certain that you're gonna be able to beat it anymore. And then it uses a totally different skill on the main character than it does on the other two, and you're just as confused as your character has to be. This is fucking great. They used the minimal resources they had available to them to subvert the player's expectations and take them out of their comfort zone. This is the kind of design that makes any game stand out from the crowd. And while we're seeing this sort of design pop up in the indie scene these days, the AAA industry basically just forgot that they could do this sort of design. Which is really fucking weird, all things considered, since it's part of one of the oldest and most influential companies in gaming. There are some good design decisions on this first part of the game. Also some pretty inelegant ones, as well as some outright freaking stupid ones. I'm sure there are reasons they came to these decisions, but I can't examine the reasons, just the results. Is this game good? Is it bad? I don't fucking know. This is an analysis show, not a review. If you want to know if it's good, go get a copy and try it for yourself. Damn thing is available in a billion different ways, so it shouldn't be too hard. If you come to some different conclusions than we did, why not let us know in the comments? I'm probably going to do a few more of these in the future, so go ahead and give me some suggestions. No game is devoid of value when you're looking for design information. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. Go ahead and let us know what you thought in the comments below, and feel free to make plenty of suggestions. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, as well as maybe support us on Patreon. We'll be putting out videos every 2 weeks, but if you can't wait that long, we have plenty of old content for you to go through, though some of the older stuff is pretty rough. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.